Hi, I'm Jade Diamond. I help stuck singles find their soulmate and great couples get juicy and reconnected for true authentic love and great sex. This video is 3 real reasons why you're procrastinating on your dating life and getting the help that you really need. So I was doing a meditation this morning and I was like, how can I serve today and what can I share that's really going to help to create more love? And this is what I got. So the 3 reasons, 3 big, and these are the real reasons, and we're going to go deep because this is me, and you know I don't really mess around with this kind of stuff. So take a deep breath and let's go for it. Number 1 is that you don't love yourself as much as you say you do. So I've written some notes, so I might just check. So really what happens is with a lot of clients that I work with, by the time they come to me, they've been dealing with the problem for a very long time, and at the root of it, while they keep telling this story that there's no good women or no good men, and I'm too different or too spiritual or too rich or not rich enough to create real love, at the heart of it, what's actually going on is that they're deeply insecure. They actually don't love themselves as much as they say they do. And although on the outside it might look to everyone else that you're confident and that you're handsome or that you're beautiful, and you probably are, and that you're doing really great things in your career, there's actually a little part of you that's really insecure and really afraid of being hurt by love. And so what happens is we stay inside of the stories of what's familiar, of, you know, dating nowadays is a mess and it's impossible to find a good person and nobody wants to commit anymore, and sex has gone down the drain because of porn and there's no way to pull it back, and men just are out for themselves and women just are out for themselves. All these stories, which, by the way, most likely your friends are going to support you with. They're going to support you to keep telling those stories, to say, yes, this is the reason why you're single. And although some of those things might be a factor in the dating world and in the dating story, you are the creator of your world. And if deep down you have a belief that you're not worthy, that you're going to get hurt by love, that you'll be rejected, that the person that you love won't love you, or that you're not attractive enough, or you're always comparing yourself to other guys or to other women, then this is actually the real reason that you procrastinate in your dating life. This is the real reason why you don't make an effort. This is the real reason, and this is what I see all the time. People who say they want to make a change in their dating life, but they don't want to put the time, the effort, the money and the attention onto it. They just want it to magically happen. And what that's covering is a fear that I'm going to get hurt, a fear that I'm going to get found out, because we can all play that I'm so great and look at me, I'm really attractive role for a certain amount of time, for a few months, but then the insecurities start to come out, then the vulnerabilities start to come out, then the strange and weird and wonderful habits start to come out, because we're all human. And so as a way to protect ourselves, we tell a story that love isn't available, love always goes wrong, I always attract the wrong kind of women or the wrong kind of guys, which you might be attracting them, but that's because it supports your belief that you're not good enough. And until you go to that deeper belief that you're not good enough or that love hurts, you'll continue to attract unavailable or wrong for you people, because actually you use it as a way to keep yourself safe. Because if you don't fully invest in someone, you won't be fully devastated and you won't be fully hurt. And that's the sort of stuff we unpick in my one-to-one sessions, because most people are so attached to the story that they avoid getting the help that they want. Usually it's until a calamity happens, so don't wait that long. Number 2 reason that people don't get the help that they need and actually procrastinate on their dating life is that you pretend you're perfectly happy just as you are, and although it's probably true that you have a great life, you're talented, you're doing great things, people are probably even saying to you, like, wow, I can't believe that you're not with anyone, which isn't helpful, by the way, is it? Oh, oh, it'll just happen one day, it'll just come out the blue, or oh, you better get a move on. You go home, or you go to a dinner party with friends, and of course it's like everybody wants to know, oh, are you still single? Are you seeing everyone? And although probably you really know and realise that that's not the be all and end all of life, you still have problems whether you're single or attached. Life still happens, and there are problems that still happen. And you kind of, maybe you even like, oh, I don't want to be defined by my marital status, which is great, and I'm totally all for that. Being single is a brilliant time to work on yourself, to look at, shit, what am I doing to sabotage myself? What are the beliefs that are going on inside of me? And start to really clear all that up before you get in relationship. It's going to give you a better chance of making your relationship work, right? But the reality is, if you're going home after that night and you're feeling embarrassed, or there's somewhere in you that feels shame, or there's somewhere in you where you lie in bed at night and think, fuck, why aren't I with anyone? Why can't I find someone? What is it about me that's not working? Why does everyone else seem to find it really easy to find love, whereas for me it's always a drama or a stress, or it's always short-lived? What the hell's going on? But you never speak those words out loud. You keep telling the story that I'm fine as I am, I'm not really bothered. And what you do with that is you cut yourself off from your desire, and you're kind of sending mixed messages to the universe and to life. So while you're putting on this face that I don't need anybody, we see this with women, right? I don't need a man. We certainly see it with men. F women, I'm not interested, I'll just use and abuse. It's often just a cover for the place that feels embarrassed that I have not been able to create a relationship with a high quality person where there's a reciprocal love. And again, I want to be really clear. I do not define myself or anybody else. That's not the reason I became a love and intimacy coach, is because everybody should be partnered up. No, being single is brilliant. And if that's truly where you're at, then great. Be with that. Be honest with that. And you can really love being single and be true to the desire that you would love someone to love. That you would love to be loved by someone. You would love to find somebody special that you can go deep with, because that's what happens in a partnership where there is honesty, where there is an open relating, where there is connection, where there is an honesty about love. And it's most likely that this I don't care, I'm not bothered story transfers into your relationships when you do have them, where you don't show when you're hurt, where you don't show your real feelings because you're always trying to protect yourself. And what that happens with that, and I was queen at that for years. I had a whole relationship with a man where my agreement with myself was to tell the truth about how I felt, because I had to unwire the protective part of me that was determined not to let a man see that he could hurt me. And I thought I was helping myself by doing that. I thought I was protecting myself from ever being hurt by a man again, because I've been so deeply hurt in the past. I developed an FU vibe, and I'll never let you see me cry, and you're never going to know that you've hurt me. And what that does is it creates a barrier between you and your partner, that they don't actually get to see the consequences of any bad behaviour. They don't get to see and feel how uncomfortable it is when you've hurt someone so much that you make them cry, that they're in emotional pain, and it stops them being able to fix it, to grow from it, and it stops you from fully expressing how you really feel and creating a resolution, and most likely you pull away. So can you see how that kind of energy dynamic works, not just when you're single, I'm all right, everything's fine, I'm not bothered, I don't care, I don't need a man. That energy goes into your relationship and tells your man, oh, okay, you don't need me, then why am I here? And you keep telling that story, I don't need you. I don't need you to do this. I don't need you to do that. I'm fine by myself. And again, this can be a learned behaviour. It might be something you've learned from your mother because she had to be strong. It might be something you've learned through your father's behaviour, that your father wasn't there emotionally for you. I remember very vividly times being shut down emotionally. You don't do that. And then I created the story that being emotional, being vulnerable with men is what pushes men away. I was completely wrong. The opposite. But I spent most of my life believing that my vulnerability would get me shut down. And that's a video for another day. So tell the truth about your desire, because it's the truth of your desire. Now, how often happens is when you really root into that desire for the first time, it's met with grief. And that's why we don't want to discuss it. That's why we don't want to be honest, because we don't want to be met with people's pity. Oh, you'll find someone. Oh, some people are like that. They're not meeting you with love and a hug. They just kind of go, oh, poor you. It's like, no, not poor you. You have a right to your desire, and you have a right also sometimes to be in that strong energy of almost grief and longing. But when you get through the grief, then that's when the longing appears. And when you get through the longing, that's when you tune in deeper to the desire. The pure energy of the desire is what will magnetize someone to you quick, smart. But while you're focused on what you don't want, which is, I don't want a relationship, I'm not bothered, that's what you're going to get. Does that make sense? So it's going through the layers, and this is what I teach my clients about communication when they're communicating with their partner. It's not just to talk about the surface level, but to go down the layers, what's really going on. And it can take practice to get there because you've suppressed it, because it's embarrassing, because it might make you ugly cry, because you're not in a place of being able to control this image of perfection. Which takes me on to number 3. The third reason why you procrastinate with dating and don't get the help that you need, meaning perhaps from someone who can really help you move forward and not just your friends who tell you the same story and agree with you, is the princess trap. The Princess Trap. That is such a good title for a book. I think I should write it. The Princess Trap, in this aspect, is the magical thinking that a grown woman has, that she's the princess and that the man has to do everything, and that she just has to, basically she doesn't have to do any work to co-create a relationship. She doesn't have to do anything. She doesn't have to go anywhere. She doesn't have to make any effort. She certainly doesn't have to work on herself. When the perfect, I'm speaking to the women here, but of course this applies to any being. Of course, sorry, I lost my track there, because men do this too, when the perfect woman appears. When a woman gets into this kind of magical thinking, she has this princess-like behaviour that's like, I'm perfect, and I've seen this, and I'm so perfect, and I'm here, and you have to meet my standards, and when you meet my standards, maybe I'll consider you. And actually, it absolves yourself of responsibility. Okay, so the princess, the little girl in you, is saying, you take my responsibility, you take responsibility for my behaviour, my outbursts, and you've got to be the perfect person, and if you're perfect, then I'll love you. Well, quick news flash, in case you hadn't already realised, nobody's perfect, not even you, and certainly not a man, and certainly not a woman. Really, it's about, are we loving ourselves? Are we loving each other? Are we able to communicate? Are we able to be honest? Are we able to be open? And so what this does is it completely detaches you from the fact that you're now 35 or 45 or 50 and you don't actually have any real relationship skills that work. I'm just going to leave that to sink in, because while you're attached, here's the truth, you'd rather be right than happy, because you don't want to take any responsibility, acquiesce, meaning you give over, you just allow the man to do whatever he wants to do, and And I'm, in the spiritual circles, it'll look like this. I'm the feminine, and I just receive. That's all I do. Take. And the man has to give. The man has to take responsibility. I'll give all my burdens to you. Now, what the beautiful, amazing thing about men is they can carry a lot. And for the woman that they love, they will carry a lot. And they want to provide. And it makes them feel good. It makes them feel in their masculine energy to be able to provide. So I'm not taking that away. It's an amazing, incredible, beautiful thing that uplifts women, and it's a gift. But when it's not taken as a gift, when it comes with expectation, it no longer becomes a gift and it starts to become a burden. And so it's that kind of princess-like behaviour that's coming either from an empty void that I need you to fill, meaning I either want the dad that I never got to provide for me, to give to me endlessly. Nothing's ever enough. It's a void that can never be filled because it's a place inside yourself where you don't love yourself, and that's where a man will start to see you as a burden rather than his queen wife counterpart that he wants to uplift in life. Instead, you're not taking responsibility for your emotional outbursts. You're not taking responsibility for your own finances. You're not taking responsibility for your own well-being. He has to do all of that for you. Now that might work really well for a man who's emotionally wounded, with a mother that he always felt like he had to earn love from, and if he didn't earn love, he wouldn't get love, and so actually he's in anxiety mode. Now he might still keep doing that, but that doesn't mean it doesn't come with consequences. Okay? So, and the other flip side of that is just literally this kind of, literally watching too many fairy tales, being programmed by Disney about what this relationship is supposed to look like. And, I absolutely, in a time in my life, bought into this belief that if it's right, it'll just be easy. Because a lot of people will tell you that. And in many aspects, your relationship with the right person, it will be easier, it will be loving, it will be clear. There won't be all these games. You'll be really clear that you love each other, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be perfect every step along the way. It doesn't mean that you haven't got emotional stuff to deal with. It doesn't mean that they haven't got emotional stuff to deal with, especially as you become an adult. If you're like 17, then maybe we can kind of keep that dream going, that everybody's perfect, that everybody, can always say and do the right thing at the right time. But if you're hitting over 25, over 27, over 37, over 47, you're going to have to kind of deal with the fact that we've all got our stuff that we bring to a relationship. But with the right one, you'll be blessed to work through that. You'll be blessed to move through these places and sticky places and spaces together and be loving each other even more on the other side of it. You'll be loving each other all the way through it. So, with this kind of in the princess trap, you don't make any effort in terms of your dating life and your love life because you think all you need to do is just turn up and look pretty, because being cute is what got you so far in life so far, right? Everybody gave you leeway, everybody told you how cute you are, and this absolutely happens for men as well, and we find this all the time. And I've been out with people like this, or been around guys like this, where women throw themselves at them all the time because they're good looking, which is wonderful for them, but they don't get to develop any. And I remember my mum telling me this from a young age, they don't get to develop their personality. They don't get to develop certain parts of the personality because they just get given everything on a plate. So if you've got parents that bail you out all the time, every time things get difficult, why would you put energy, attention into your love life in the way that you really want to, in the way that you really need? Because everybody you're in this mentality that everybody says to me, except now you're nearly 40. That's a wake-up call clap. Except now you're nearly 40, you need to take responsibility for yourself and learn what it really takes to be in relationship, and where you might be sabotaging yourself. Does that make sense? So I know this is, this is like almost 20 minutes long, so I've really gone quite in depth with some of these things today. So just to really help you understand the dynamics of what goes on, so that you can be empowered, so that you can say, oh, okay, shit, is that what, okay, is that what I've been doing? Maybe it's time to tell a different story. How can I shift? And if you know that you're ready to move forward, then by all means contact me. I do 90-day one-to-one programs that will transform your love life, whether you're single or whether you're inside of a relationship. I work with people who've got pregnant after our work together, that have got married after our work together, that have got engaged after our work together, that have gone from no dates in a year to like 3 or 4 in a week, to an inbox full of potential suitors, to really stop pushing their partner away that loves them through their own self-sabotage, so that they can enjoy the love that they've got and know that they deserve it and know that it's safe to have it. So if any of that sounds like something I could help you with, please do pop me a message. I'm Jay Diamond, Love and Intimacy Coach. I help stuck singles find their soulmate and really great couples get juicy and reconnected for true, authentic love and great sex.